Hey everybody, welcome to our first look at AI Made Simple. I created this series because I wanted to share with people what's made my journey in using and implementing AI easier, simpler, and more effective. So in the next 8 minutes, I'm going to show you 5 prompting techniques that transformed my AI implementation and my results practically overnight. I've spent hundreds of hours testing and implementing what I'm going to show you here today to be able to go in and apply it in multiple steps and processes in a business to make actual money. At the end here, I'm actually going to give you a bonus that you're going to be able to go in and immediately start implementing what you learn here today. Now, the internet loves making fun of us AI nerds, and one of the ways that they've been doing that actually is making memes and jokes about this phrase, prompt engineering. But the thing is that prompting is the way that you as a human being communicate your ideas and get outputs from AI, from LLMs. So I promise that if you can learn these basic concepts we'll go over here today, then it's going to influence everything that you do with AI going forward. First, I'll give you some context as to how and why prompt engineering has such a strong impact on your actual output with AI, as well as how it impacts implementation of AI and automation so dramatically. Then we'll go through the 5 prompting skills and we'll start immediately applying them. So if you're new to the channel and you don't know who I am, my name is Marshall Tootin, and I help people implement the latest AI technology and tools without needing technical skills. So whether you're a business owner, a consultant, or you're just plain curious, there is something here for you at this channel to learn from. So go ahead and hit subscribe. And I've got some resources here I'm going to be sharing here at the end of the video, and let's get right to it. So I want you to imagine that you're traveling to a foreign country. And when you go to a foreign country, generally you want to learn some basic phrases so you can get around and kind of just have your bearings, right? Where's the bathroom? Where can I get food, etc. Well, these phrases are totally fine. You'll be able to get around, you'll be able to see the basics and do what you plan to do. But imagine you can converse with the locals in their own tongue, in their cultural context. If you can do that, then you can find the best local spots, the best deals. You can find all the places that the other tourists don't typically go. You can access more by being able to speak the language. This is the difference between using AI and prompting AI, really pulling out of it what you need. So let's go into an example here. I want you to imagine that you have a process that you want to automate for a business. So let's say we have the process and it's just characterized by these 3 steps, A, B, and C. So usually we go from point A to point B, right? Somewhere along the way, we're spending money, we have employees, whatever we might be doing. And what we want to do is we want to introduce an automation. We want to introduce an agent. And by introducing this agent, we're going to communicate with it, give it some directions, and hopefully on the other end, it's going to spit out the same result and maybe even better for point B that helps us do it without having to maybe have an employee for that or makes it easier. The thing is that in order to do this, we are going to have to communicate with this agent. We're going to have to give it instructions. And you guessed it, that agent is going to need a prompt. And the thing about these processes is that if we're trying to automate this, if you do not have a prompt that's effective to get us from point A to point B, what's going to happen is that somewhere in here, you're going to have an issue, right? Somewhere in here, maybe it spits out a completely different piece of information, or it spits out information that isn't quite as useful and that doesn't help you go to your next step, right? To point C. So it's very, very key that what you do with this prompt actually has a direct impact on making your next step and making point B easier to do or less expensive. What's really interesting is that when you go to prompt, right? When you go to prompt one of these LLMs, let's use ChatGPT, for example. Well, we've all seen that ChatGPT has different versions, right? They have version 1, version 2, the more complex and the higher version you get, it's going to become more expensive to run, because imagine if you're running a business where you go from point A to point B 100 times. Well, maybe running it once costs 10 cents, not that bad, but once you run it 100 times, that's $1. And then if you run it 1,000 times, that's $100. And if you go to version 2 and version 3, maybe it becomes 15 cents, 40 cents each time that you run through this prompt. So if you can learn to properly prompt, you can actually get from point A to point B using just version 1. If your prompt is good enough to get out of version 1 to point B, whereas somebody else's, they have to go to version 3 and they're going to pay 25 cents, you're able to run this 100 times and get the same result while spending less money. This is key if you're a consultant or if you're just a business owner doing this for yourself. You have to learn how to use prompts in order to get better results, both for the result itself and also for the impact financially that it's going to have on your bottom line, which at the end of the day is what all businesses want. So this brings us to our 5 essential prompting concepts for beginners. So in order to master this communication with AI, you're going to have to use some proven techniques, and that's exactly what we're going to do here today. So the first rule is role prompting. It's the foundation of prompting as a whole. And it's super important because this is a robot, right? At the end of the day, when you do role prompting, you are giving the AI an identity. You're giving it a reason for being. You're giving it a perception of itself to go and act in the world or act on the internet for you. So instead of treating AI like a Google search and asking a basic question, you're actually going to assign your AI a specific role with specific expertise. You're going to tell it what it is supposed to be, how it should envision itself. Because vague requests produce vague results. So let's see this in action here. A bad example of a prompt is write me a marketing email. You can get results with this, but it's not going to be nearly as helpful as going to something like this. You are an expert email marketing specialist with 10 years of experience in B2B software service sales. Write me a marketing email for our new project management tool targeting startup founders. It's a specific role. It's a specific identity. It gives it context. And when you do that, you're simply going to get a better output. Now, the more specific that role, the better the output is going to be. So you want to think in terms of expert data analyst, not just analyst. So skill number 2 is task structure. You want to be crystal clear in how you guide the actions of the AI to accomplish your task. So break it into steps. This is called chain of thought prompting, where you give it a clear process to follow. You use numbers to outline the steps you want it to take. You define specific deliverables, things you want it to achieve. You include formatting, and you actually use something called Markdown. Markdown is where you use numbers, hashtags, bold, titles, and parts of this prompt in order to catch the attention of the AI to break down the prompt in a way that it can understand it and process the information. Here's an example. A vague request would be, help me with my business plan. A structured request would be, create a business plan outline using the step-by-step process. 1, executive summary. 2, market analysis. 3, revenue model. 4, marketing strategy. 5, financial projections. For each section, you want to provide 3 to 4 bullet points telling it what you want it to achieve. So as you can see, we're giving it some structure, we're giving it some specifics. It doesn't have to be 5 of them, it could just be 2, it could be 1, but you need to be specific about it. So our next technique is context. You have to give the AI your goals, know your goals. It doesn't know your business, your audience, exactly what you want it to do. So you want to provide relevant background information up front in order to get the right results. You need to define your audience. So you want to specify, who is this for? If it's just for you as the owner of a company or as a student studying some information, right? You need to give it direction on who it's supposed to be giving the information to. Because context transforms generic content into direct, valuable insights. And you want to share your challenge, share what the struggle, what the problem is. So the more context you actually provide, the more relevant and valuable the output becomes. Don't make AI guess your needs. You want to communicate with AI. Now, a tip with context is you don't have to know exactly what you want sometimes, but you do need to tell the AI how you want it to think. Now, an example for context, write social media content. Instead of that, write, our company is a B2B AI automation agency targeting small business owners who are overwhelmed by manual tasks. We help them save 10+ hours per week. Write 3 LinkedIn posts that speak to their pain points and position our solution as the answer. It's targeted, it's valuable content. The AI will know exactly what type of words to use and how to approach it to get better results. So the 4th technique is examples. which is called few-shot prompting, providing 2 to 3 samples of what you want your desired output to be. Now, I want to be clear, this doesn't apply to every single time you use a prompt. Really, you only want to use examples when you are trying to get a specific format or style or structure that's hard to describe in words alone. If you have specific brand information, if you have specific types of language that's used to describe something in your process, that's when you'll need to use examples. You can skip giving examples when you're comfortable with the AI just kind of using its own judgment and style and format to give you answers. And number 5 is emotional prompting. I know this sounds a little out there, but AI can actually connect with emotional language. So instead of, for example, analyze this data and provide insights, you say, this analysis is crucial for our company's survival. We need deep, actionable insights that could save our business. Take your time and be thorough. Our team is counting on your expertise. Believe it or not, this has a big impact on how AI actually responds and gives you answers to your prompts. Research shows it actually brings 115% improvement in output quality, which is bonkers when you think about how much more effective it can be if you just give your AI a little bit of an emotional nudge. Now, I know this is a lot of steps. So what I've actually done here is we're going to use a technique called meta prompting. This is the bonus here that I'm giving you. Meta prompting is like magic. You prompt AI to help you create a prompt that will give you the result that you want without you having to go in and manually type it out every single time. So this is going to save you a lot of time while dramatically improving your results. Here's a perfect example of how I actually used meta prompting for this video. So I went in here into Gemini 2.5 and I gave it a prompt, and look, I gave it a role. You are an expert prompt engineer that can make perfect prompts for Nano Banana image generation. So I'm prompting the AI to help me make a prompt that will get me the image that I wanted. So I gave it some examples from Michelangelo, Mantegna, Raphael, these classic Italian Renaissance painters. And I gave it kind of a start to the prompt that I'm looking for. And then what it did is it made a better prompt. It took my prompting, my examples, and then it made a prompt that generated some starting images here, which helped me create the image that I finally got to at the end here that I used for that intro. So this is our meta prompt maker, and I'm going to actually drop this document in the Gumroad link here in the description so that you can go ahead and download it and you can copy and paste this and start making your own prompts right now. And I'm actually going to go in and give you an example. So it has some instructions here, but I know how to use it. So I'm going to go ahead and copy these blue parts here because that's the actual prompt that you're going to need to copy and paste. We'll start with this first chunk. And I'm just going to use ChatGPT. And I'm going to come up with just a fake business idea, and we'll go off of that. So here is the prompt, and we're only going to fill in these sections where we have to fill in. So you are an expert. Insert your subject area or role here. So we're going to go ahead and say that you're a bicycle, retail, and servicing manager with extensive experience in creating high-performance bicycle servicing centers that generate exceptional results from insert AI system here. So we're actually going to go ahead and we're going to use the AI system we're using. So this is ChatGPT, which is ChatGPT 5.0. So there's our first sentence. You have deep expertise in retail management. So now we're going to go to examples. Do we need to use examples? Well, it says skip examples for simple tasks like basic emails, explanations, brainstorming, advice, flexible requests. Give me ideas for. So it's clear that in this case, I don't need an example. So a good situation where I would absolutely give an example is if I was running this for multiple locations of the same business and I needed to keep the message consistent through different geographical areas or different teams, I would give tone matching examples. I would give specific examples of exact phrases and brand alignment and things like that. In this case, it's pretty clear that I am just brainstorming. I want to get this report I want to perfect it, and I want to execute for a single location. So we're actually going to skip the examples for this section. But if you need to give any examples, here is the framework. Okay, so here's our response. We've got a really detailed plan getting put together here with promotional ideas, strategies, everything from pricing to service KPIs to community research. So this is a really thorough approach that it's given us that we can go ahead and hopefully turn Bike to Us right around 180 degrees. Now, really good video of mine to check out after this would be the flowchart creator here. I'll go ahead and put a link where you can take a detailed plan like this and you can break it down into a visual flowchart that will help you present ideas and understand your processes better. So definitely go check that one out. And you'll be able to use this to apply to any part of your business, any part of your life that needs a little bit of extra help getting answers from AI that are going to actually take you to that next step. So I'm glad you could join me here today in this session of AI Made Simple. If this has been useful for you here today, go ahead and share it, subscribe, and comment here below is something that you're going to use this for, or any questions you might have. You can also go ahead and join the Infinite Growth Early Access to the community here in the link below. Really appreciate the support on the channel. I'm going to continue to build this community and how I educate and bring people together to really take advantage of the technology that's available instead of something that you just continue to fall behind on. And I'll be creating more resources and topics for you to engage with. You can actually access in the link below to be able to sign up early to be part of that community. And let me know what your thoughts are here. What would you like to see that would make AI more simple for you in your business and your life? Can't wait to show you more.